Club Tar Pit Trouble. I'm Sandy, and today we are going to do a couple of fun little experiments with all the treasures that are in this take and make bag, which you should have already picked up in order to do the experiment. Let's get started. In your take and make bag, you'll find an aluminum pan, a bottle of vinegar, a bag labeled baking soda, a bag labeled cornstarch, a small bag containing some cocoa powder, a cup. I've already pre-filled my cup with some water, but your cup will be empty, a stir stick, a spoon, and 5 glow-in-the-dark dinosaurs. And so the first thing that we need to do is we are going to start recreating a tar pit. So we'll take our dinosaurs and move them to the side for a minute. And we'll take the bag labeled baking soda and empty it into the pan. And then we'll take our bag labeled cornstarch and we'll empty that into the pan, like so. We'll try to get as much of that out as we can. And then last but not least, we'll take our small bag full of cocoa powder and we'll dump that in. And this experiment is messy, so make sure you're doing this on a space that's messy approved. And we'll take our little stir stick, we'll stir this up, and I'm gonna take our cup of water. I've filled mine to the line at the top, and we're going to slowly add and mix and create a little substance called oobleck. And we'll see how much water it actually takes to get this all mixed up. Just put a little bit in at a time and stir it up. And the cocoa powder is in there just to simulate a tar pit color. And we want it liquid, but not runny, if that makes any sense. So we'll just keep mixing, and I'll show you what I mean. And if you have to, you can get your fingers in there and mix with your hands. And I might just have to do that. It's getting pretty chunky here. But again, and you're just mixing, getting everything mixed up, and then we'll bring in the dinosaurs. Careful not to fling it. I think we're almost there. Just a smidge too much water in this, but that's okay. I think we still can do what we need to do with it. Thinking I've just about got everything mixed up. This is just a little bit runnier than I would want it to be, I think, but what is happening is we've got our baking soda and our cornstarch and our cocoa powder all mixed up, and you can feel the parts here where if you touch this, this is where oobleck comes in. See how it's kind of like solid on your fingers? If you pick it up and do this, it's runny. but if you touch it, it feels hard. If you poke it really hard, it feels hard. It's solid is the word I'm looking for. So you see how when you stir in here, you get the, it kind of will run through my fingers, but yet when I touch it, it feels like a solid. And that's oobleck. And this one again is just a little bit runnier than we would want it to be, but that's okay. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to take our dinosaurs and we're gonna see how our dinosaurs do on top of this. So keep stirring, even if it looks like there's maybe too much water. Make sure you get in all the nooks and crannies in your pan and get that all mixed in. And see how I'm mixing now, and you can see a solid when I bring my stick up. So that is really what your oobleck should look like. I don't know if you can see that when I take it, it's solid, and then the next thing we know, it's running off the stick. It's a really, really strange substance. We can poke it, and it feels like cement hardening up in there. And if we take our dinosaurs and put them in there, they slowly will sink. And they can kind of, see how I can put it on the top and it will not really stick, but if I set him down, he's gonna sink into the oobleck, which is again our replacement for the tar pits. And there we've got all our dinosaurs slowly sinking into the tar pits. And that's what happened back in the day. All the things got covered up with the tar, and then they were preserved because they sunk, and then they were quickly covered, and that preserved the fossils. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to see if we can create a chemical reaction out of this. So we'll take our vinegar and take the tape off of it. And we did that to keep it from spilling in your kit. And then we'll see what kind of reaction we can get. So again, we have our simulated tar pit, and we're going to see if we can create a reaction which will simulate the gases and things coming up from the earth when these tar pits were created. So we've got our bottle of vinegar, and just take the tape off, untwist it, and then just a little at a time put some drops of this in your tar pit and see what happens. And again, this is simulating part of the occurrence of the tar pit. What happened back in the day was that crude oil seeped up from under the ground and came to the top, and the bubbles were the lighter gases that were formed. They bubbled and escaped, creating a reaction like this, leaving the sticky residue where things could get caught in there, and a lot of times there was leaves or debris that was covering the surface of the tar pits, so whatever was walking across it didn't know what it was, and then when they stepped in there, they fell through. This is like quicksand. You just sink right to the bottom, and it's sticky, so you can't really get out. And that's how the tar pits came to be. And so what we did is we created a simulated tar pit with by creating oobleck, which is a sticky substance, but it's also not. It's called a non-Newtonian fluid, which means it can be solid and liquid at the same time, and we saw that when we mixed it up. We could touch it and it would feel hard, but then when we actually picked it up, it turned to liquid and ran back through our fingers. And then we recreated the bubbling of the gases, which is a chemical reaction when the vinegar in our bottle reacts with the baking soda that's in our oobleck mixture. And even if you can still dig down a little bit and see our solids, but that is what we experienced here today. We made oobleck, and then we created a chemical reaction with our vinegar and our baking soda in our oobleck mixture. We also included a spoon in your take and make bag, so if you want to get your poor stuck dinosaurs out of the tar pit, and you can do that with a spoon instead of sticking your fingers in the mixture, because vinegar is kind of acidic, and if you have a cut or something on your finger, the vinegar might sting if you stick your fingers in there. So you can dig your dinosaurs out with a spoon. Enjoy the project. Thanks for joining us today for Virtual STEM Club Tar Pit Trouble. I hope you liked the experiment and you were able to kind of figure out and relate to what was going on during the times of the tar pits bubbling and animals sinking, and hope it was a lot of fun. We'd love to see any pictures or video of you doing the project, and you can share them at the email address that's coming across your screen. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.